Hey guys, it's me, Rich, and I'm here to bring some sanity to the day's news. Well, it looks like we've got some real coinkydinks going on here today. It seems really funny that there is a pattern that has emerged that every time possible criminal information on Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden comes out, the Department of Justice adds new indictments against former President Donald Trump. And Trump's ratings keep going up and up after every indictment. I think he's just a couple of indictments away from winning the Republican nomination, don't you? But there is a definite pattern now, and we're going to get into it.
The timing of this indictment was coordinated to take the heat off Biden. This is the third time this has happened. You ready? On March 17th, Hunter admitted the laptop was his. And on the very next day, Trump received word Alvin Bragg was indicting him in New York. On June 8th, an FBI document broke that Ukraine paid Biden a $5 million bribe. And the next day, on June 9th, Biden's DOJ indicts Trump on the Mar-a-Lago documents. Yesterday, on July 31st, a Biden insider told Congress that Biden spoke with Hunter Biden's business partners dozens of times, and Hunter was paid handsomely to get his dad to fire the prosecutor in Ukraine. And then today, August 1st, Biden's Justice Department indicts Trump on January 6 charges.
Apparently, there's a poll out that says that somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of Democrats have no idea about all this damaging information that has come forward against Joe and Hunter Biden. They don't know about the whistleblowers. They don't know about the 2 checks that were written by the Burisma executive who claims that he is the one who bribed them, $5 million each, one to Hunter and one to Joe, to get the prosecutor fired who was investigating Burisma Holdings and Hunter Biden. These Democrats also don't know about the WhatsApp conversation where Hunter was telling a Chinese agent that he was sitting there in the room with his father and was prepared to use people that he knows, that his father knows, against him if he didn't pay for services rendered. They don't know that there was an audio tape of Joe Biden as vice president corroborating information against himself, the dumbass, that he leveraged $1 billion in loan guarantees against Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko if he didn't fire the prosecutor. And no, I'm not talking about the time when he bragged about it on stage at the Council on Foreign Relations. These people also don't know that there was another audio tape of Joe Biden again talking to President Poroshenko, where he is telling him that he only has so many days left to order the governor of a bank, Privat Bank, which is the largest Ukrainian bank that is owned by an oligarch. And that bank was paying money to Burisma, and they were using that money as a money laundering scam to pay Hunter about $83,000 a month. They don't know that Joe Biden told Poroshenko that he wanted the whole system shut down before Trump came into office because time was running out. They don't know these things because we have a misinformation fake news media that does not want these Democrat voters to know it. But really, the only thing these people do know is that Donald Trump is a criminal. So let me get this straight. On March 17th, Hunter Biden suddenly decides to admit that the infamous laptop is his. I mean, come on. Did he just wake up one morning and say, hey, you know what? Let's spice things up a bit? No. But then the very next day, Trump receives word of an indictment in New York. Talk about perfect timing. I mean, bravo to the masterminds behind that coordination. It's like a well-scripted reality show, but with politicians. And hey, what do you know? In June, an FBI document reveals a $5 million bribe to Biden from Ukraine. Impressive. It's like they just wanted to keep the drama going, right? And the next day, on June 9th, if you remember, Biden's DOJ indicts Trump on the Mar-a-Lago document. Oh, it gets even juicier. On July 31st, a Biden insider, Devin Archer, spills the beans in testimony to Congress about Hunter's conversations with his crooked business partners and how Joe Biden took the phone dozens of times. And guess what? The discussion was about Joe using the influence of his office as VP to get the Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating Burisma and Hunter fired. And then, drumroll please, the very next day on August 1st, Biden's Justice Department strikes back with charges against Trump for January 6th. It's almost like they were just waiting for the right moment to pounce. Like they had it in their quiver, you know, and they were waiting to use it. The Democrats are not subtle people. The coincidences are as thick as fog in a Stephen King novel. I must admit, the timing here is exquisite. You couldn't have written a better script for this theatrical performance. When you think about it, Joe Biden's polls are falling faster than he fell when he tripped over a sandbag on stage. What's frightening is that the Democrats in D.C. have realized that they have no other move. Joe Biden is a compromised president, and the evidence we already have is damning enough. But can you imagine what's going to happen when the Ukrainian whistleblower testifies that he is the one who bribed Joe and Hunter? By every indictment against Trump so far, and that goes for Manhattan, Jack Smith, and Georgia, the Democrats have violated due process laws. They gave up on any kind of morality within a justice system. And they are now just making things up and claiming them to be legal. For example, they are now trying to infect the minds of the American people who thinking that Donald Trump complaining about the 2020 election was him trying to overturn it illegitimately. Up until about 5 minutes prior to the 2020 election, American citizens were allowed to complain about irregularities they witnessed in elections. And the Democrats are now trying to convince enough people, we're talking 2024 voters, potential jury pool, things like that, but they are trying to convince enough people that what Donald Trump did when he complained about the election was illegal because he tried to overturn an election. And what they have to prove is that Trump knew he lost, that he believed he lost the election, but he tried to overturn it anyway. They have no evidence on that unless someone comes forward and lies, like maybe, I don't know, Mike Pence. There is a video going around right now, about 24 minutes long, and it's nothing but nonstop Democrats over the years challenging elections that they lost. Not a single one of them was ever charged with a crime. And the Democrats got away with it because there's nothing wrong with that. Americans have free speech rights to say whatever the hell they want. But the Democrats now want you to believe that Americans have free speech rights to say whatever the hell they want, unless it's Donald Trump claiming that he believes he won the 2020 election and that he was robbed. That's what he said consistently since the election. The problem with that is that there is absolutely no evidence Trump knew that he lost legitimately. And to the contrary, there is a plethora of evidence that Trump believed that he won and he was robbed. Now, contrary to leftist belief, a prosecutor can't just make a statement of what he believes was in the head of a defendant without any empirical evidence to back that up and declare it a fact. But Jack Smith is such a dirty, filthy, sleazy prosecutor that he would make shit like that up. He did it before. He was overturned 9-0 in the Supreme Court because they fabricated evidence, withheld exculpatory evidence, and far worse stuff. Jack Smith knows all this, which is why he pressed to get the case in D.C., where sadly, I believe Trump cannot get a fair trial. I think it was over 90% of the people that live in Washington, D.C. voted for Biden because they hate Donald Trump. And the judge they chose to preside over this case is known to have sentenced January 6 defendants way beyond the recommendations of the Justice Department. As someone who studied this very closely from 2016 on, I can say without hesitation that every accusation the Democrats formally made against Donald Trump were bold-faced lies. And right now, the Democrats are so desperate to hang on to the White House that they will do anything to keep Trump out. So I think if his trial is inside D.C., he is going to be convicted probably before lunch. But I think he will win on the appeal. But my belief is that everything they have ever thrown at Trump, starting from the emoluments clause, the Russian collusion, and 2 impeachments, and all the rest, everything, the whole kit and caboodle, was election interference. Now, as always, I encourage you to do your own research and draw your own conclusions. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.
It's a rainy night coming late out of the dojo. No lights, dark out on the parking lot. Looking for my car, thought I left it here before. Get a feeling that something ain't right. My heart's beating fast now, I'm about to pass out. Suddenly my brain's letting go and I laugh out loud as my elbows crash into an eyebrow.